Good morning and welcome to Sacramento CSL Sacred Sunday Service. We're so glad you joined us and we're grateful for this technology that brings us together in community. Please remember that this service is being recorded and used on social media to share our teaching and grow our community. You're welcome to turn off your video and change your name if you'd like on your username. So please remember. And now, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce our senior minister, who not only is our spiritual leader, but our guiding light and courageous trailblazer into what else is possible. Without skipping a beat, our Reverend Sharon Dunn has been a guiding light through these uncertain times with unending grace. So in that spirit of a trailblazer, we have an exciting morning for you today. So please join me in welcoming Reverend Sharon Dunn.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, so everyone unmute and say good morning to each other and then mute yourself on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Doug.
August is over.
Oh my gosh, I just love that. Thanks, guys. It's still going. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to be here. What a day we're going to have. Today's going to be a day of fun, just so you know. Who needs some fun? I do. It is my honor and privilege to be here as your senior minister and to introduce our practitioner of the day, who is, as I've said before, a heart-centered soul. Being a practitioner from birth, Linda Connolly supports our center not only on the Board of Trustees, past president, and now at-large member, but she is always ready, always ready. So if you at all need prayer, this is the person, this is our go-to, Linda Connolly. Thank you, dear.
Linda, could you unmute, please?
That would help. So let's kind of gather our thoughts and relax in our chair as we gather for the invocation. And in that, let's just breathe in deeply, breathing in this essence of this divine creator that creates in such love. This spirit of love that all creation is created in and expressed in, through, and as all of its creation. So all creation is an individualized expression of love. And it is this love and this sense of connection that draws us together for these teachings. It's what draws us together every Sunday and all the times in between to hear the divine message of Reverend Sharon, to delve deeper into our teachings. And as we do so, we delve deeper into ourselves, connecting our internal expression, individualized expression of love, to the external. And it's done with such joy as we listen to the music that lifts our spirits and dances with our soul. And with this divine guidance of Ruth and all those behind and in front of this production that bring it all together so that it unfolds so perfectly for each and every one of us here as we hear what we need to hear. And it is wonderful, this connection, these beautiful messages. And so it is. So our August theme is inclusion in action, the oneness of all life. So please stay muted as we read together our vision, mission, and purpose statements. And so our vision is we are a welcoming sanctuary community where all are accepted, valued, and supported in the global family. Our mission, we inspire and nurture personal and global transformation through the teaching of science of mind. And our purpose, in joy and love, we connect in service to all life. And so, I'm about to announce the transition of our beautiful Teresa Day. This beautiful light, its spirit, that so embodied and embraced and lived our teachings. She was so determined to pass her paddling and the written tests and her desire to become the licensed practitioner that she became, that she was diagnosed with her first brain tumor and went through those treatments. Her beloved transitioned. She fell and shattered her shoulder, had it replaced, and while recovering, she went on a service trip with us to Kenya, went down the huge zip line in Zimbabwe. She learned to play a new instrument. If she was passionate about it, she did that. She did not let anything stand in her way. And she did it with all such a love and kindness wherever she went. And so please join us in fellowship to share our friendship with Teresa. And I will share my most fondest and hilarious memory of our beautiful Teresa Bordeaux Day. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And thank you, Linda, for your heartfelt words on our beloved Teresa. What a beautiful soul. And she absolutely exemplifies and is my model for our teaching, not giving into effects and living full out, isn't she? And I say, isn't she, because life is eternal and our souls go on, ever expanding. So we'll catch up with her again. So August, what a month, right? A lot happened. And we talked a lot about inclusion in action. And today's topic is we are. I took that to mean I could talk about whatever I wanted. We are. And then I thought, wait a minute, let's reel back August. We are emanations of the divine. That's what we decided early on in August, right? So we are emanations of the one. And I believe, I, Sharon Dunn, believe in the kinship of humanity. Won't you join me in that idea? The parenthood of God and the unity of all, together in oneness, perfect, complete, and whole. Remembering when I first came to religious science to Reverend Dr. Edward Viljoen's center in Santa Rosa, and as I often say, he said, I was perfect, complete, and whole. And I want to repeat that message to you. So again, I believe in the kinship of humanity, the parenthood of God, and the unity of all, together in oneness, perfect, complete, and whole, each one of us. Right here and right now, you are perfect, complete, and whole. And another thing I thought of this week is that no storm is too big for us to overcome when we stand together in spirit. And haven't we had some storms? And not all in the weather. Goodness, goodness, have we had some storms? No storm is too big for us to overcome when we stand together in spirit. Not a pandemic, political divide, racial injustice, financial fallout, hurricanes, fires, and those relatives we're not getting along with. So let's have some fun today. I want to tell you that I have a new friend on Facebook. I have a new friend on Facebook, and my new friend on Facebook is helping me to remember what social media is. Social media, as I have said before, is our way to connect with one another. And interesting enough, I'm asking, is social media a weapon or wisdom? Is it connection or separation? And my new friend on Facebook, he's an old friend. His name is Ernest Shirtliff Holmes. And because I have become friends with him on Facebook, I am remembering why I'm on social media, and it is to connect, not to be separate. Because funny thing, he talks a lot in his posts and his quotes. He quotes a lot, he uses memes a lot, and he quotes a lot about separation, and that is not who we are. So I want to let you know that as we leave August and we remember that we are emanations of the divine, we also know that we explored emanationism, which is my new word for the month, which is a cosmology theory which asserts that all things flow from an underlying principle of reality, usually called the absolute or Godhead. So you're getting the gist of kind of the theme of my talk today. Ernest Holmes is my new Facebook friend, and together we're going to learn about love and unity and kindness, because that's who he is. He's got a lot of photos on Facebook. You know, he's got a lot of friends, and we're going to talk about that. But the three things that I'm going to cover in this fun time we're going to have together is, number one, we are not a separated entity. Now think about this. We are not a separated entity, but a separate entity. We are not a separated entity. I got this right off of Facebook. This is what he said. We are not a separated entity, but a separate entity. In other words, we are all one. We're never separated from the one, and yet we're all individual expressions. Number 2, I'm going to talk about selfish thoughts separate me from my good. That's going to end on a good note, don't worry. And number 3, spiritual power arises from a consciousness of our unity. Now, you might have asked, well, where's our readings for today? And where's our affirmations later? You might ask those questions because we're kind of changing it up today. We don't want to get bored doing the same thing every time, do we? So I'm going to weave in our readings and our affirmations. So you'll play with me, right? And as you know, I spend a lot of time by myself in this sheltering grace. So having this new friend on Facebook has really uplifted my spirit. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is we are not separated. We are not a separated entity, but a separate entity. Look at this. This, you know, when he first accepted my friend request, this is the first thing I saw, and I was so excited. He's got a lot of friends, as I said, and he wrote this: within this infinite mind, each individual exists not as a separated entity, but as a separate entity. We come to a point in universal consciousness, which is God, and God is our life or spirit. We're not separated from it. Neither is it separated from us, but we are separate entities in it. You know, I have been getting to know him, and he's very intelligent. He's very smart, and he uses a lot of words, which I appreciate. And I'm really glad to be friends on Facebook with him because he really speaks, you know, from this intelligence, right? From this intelligence. And, you know, because we're friends on Facebook, I can look at it over and over and over again until I finally understand it, which is kind of how it is with Ernest Holmes. And the more I read it, the more I understand it. And then I can go back the next day and look at it again and get a completely different idea of what he's talking about. But he's a wonderful example of how to use social media, I must admit. So let's look at this idea of separate. And I got this incredible, well, I think it's incredible. I think anything my new friend on Facebook says is incredible. You have to understand, I'm kind of right now in that honeymoon stage. New friend on Facebook, you know, trying to, you know, figure out who he is, looking through all his old posts, right? So he says that we are members of the universe. Have you ever heard that before? We are members of the universe. Sometimes, especially this last 2 weeks has been a real challenge for me because I haven't seen, or I haven't chosen to look at this idea that we're all one. I've been really influenced by opinion. I've really been influenced by different viewpoints. They're flying at me like the hurricane. You know, when the hurricane hit and the buildings started flying and the windows started breaking, and that's kind of how I feel about opinions right now. I feel like I've been in kind of this hurricane of things coming at me. Some give me a stomach ache. And it's really affecting my body and my health, and I haven't really sometimes been feeling good. I haven't been feeling centered. I've been feeling like I'm caught up in something. Does anyone, raise your hand if you've experienced this? And so the unity of God is a revelation of the greatest importance. And Emma Curtis Hopkins, who's a friend of Ernest, actually, he has some pictures of her, and he says that she is his teacher. You know, she used to say the unity of good. And I think that's what she meant by the unity of God. So sometimes, a lot of times, instead of God, she would say good. I love my good. I love my God. And I think if you want to add another O to the word God to make it more yummy, that's a really good thing to do. Dear good. Oh my good. Good Lord. That's the one I use a lot. The parenthood of God and the actual kinship of humanity will be made apparent on earth. Listen to this. This is what he says. To the degree that we realize true unity. That's deep. Let me say it again. The kinship of humanity, the parenthood of God will be made apparent on earth to the degree we realize true unity. I think what this means is that we have to embody this. We have to embrace this. We have to feel it. We have to, try it on. Reason, he's very logical. Reason, he says, declares that which is infinite cannot be divided against itself. Guys, if we are emanations of the one, okay, not our body, not our hair, not our skin color, none of that, but rather our soul, that which is infinite, right? That which is immortal, that which is eternal is our soul. That is the impress of the divine upon each one of us. That's what connects us to each other. That's why I say love never dies. You know, when you break up with somebody and say, I don't love them anymore. Well, that's not actually true. You don't like them anymore. But love is forever, ever expanding. And so it is that soul connection that we are together. And sometimes I forget that, especially in the storm when all of these viewpoints and opinions are coming at me. I can literally unfriend you because we don't think the same. It doesn't even matter if we don't look the same. I'm way beyond that. I'm way beyond, what we look like or what our religion is or a country of origin. I'm past that. Now it's like your opinion. I've got it down to the pettiness of your opinion. The unity of the Spirit is kept through the bonds of peace. This is big stuff. Do you agree that there's a lot to this? I don't think we have enough in our social media of this kind of thinking to balance out the other kind of thinking. I think that we have forgotten that's the heart of social media is to connect. I mean, I've seen and met high school friends that I've lost track of. I've been able to follow cousins and family and it's been fantastic. And recently it feels like it's a platform, that it's become a platform, and I'm almost afraid to go on. Because by the time I spend a little time on social media, my stomach hurts. I don't know if you feel that way, but I do. Ernest Holmes says, to have your heart without fear is to have implicit confidence in the good, the enduring, and the true. Now listen to this part. Fear is the only thing of which to be afraid. He's really smart. You might want to be friends with him on Facebook. I think he still has room for more friends, because I think there's a limit on to how many friends you can have on Facebook. He's pretty much up there. He's popular. He goes on to say, it is not the host encamped against you, nor the confusion around you that you need to fear. It is the lack of confidence in the good alone which should concern you. Do I forget about the good? The good alone, the God, the good alone? It is when I forget that confidence in it. I am easily swayed. I can forget the good for long periods. Are you sure you want me to be your spiritual leader? Oh, my heavens. Through inner spiritual vision, you know that good alone is permanent and all else is transitory, guys. You know that right finally dissolves everything opposed to it. Isn't this hopeful? The power of the Spirit is supreme over every antagonist. The power of Spirit is supreme over every antagonist. Can I get an amen? Where are my Baptists? Therefore, you should cherish no fear. And when you neither fear nor hate, you come to understand the unity of life. I'm going to have that tattooed on my right side at my rib cage. Our Declaration of Principles, which he wrote, I mean, he's just, I know I'm a fan, and I'm talking a lot about Ernest Holmes today, but he wrote, we believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. You know, I went into his, you know how you can go into the about information? You know, I wanted to check out his relationship. He is so in love with his wife, Hazel. She is a practitioner at the center that he built. She is also a mystic. And apparently she inherited that from other people in her family. Did you know that? She says that she feels that the actual practice, and this is good for the practitioners, as we're all practitioners of this teaching, right? She understood that that the practice itself demands quiet, dedication, and removal. Listen to this. Removal from the scene of the difficulty, whatever it is. That is because personality can be a great factor. Personality can be a great factor for the preacher or teacher, but personality and personal emotion can be detrimental to the practitioner. In other words, it's important to have the emotion and the situation, condition, and circumstance of the person that you are with, but the practitioner must not be influenced by it. The practitioner must understand it, translate it into principle, and then turn away from it. Now, I'm not saying, am I, to turn away from it first. I'm saying to know what it is, feel what it is, so that you know which principle to access and to manifest into form. So I'm not saying hide your head in the sand, am I? I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, look at me. I'm easily influenced by opinion. And it does not do a body good. Ernest Holmes was married to Hazel for 30 years. They were so in love. He literally only loved 2 women in his whole life to that depth. Hazel, Durkee, Gillen, Foster, and his own mother. He was so happy. He was such a happy man. He had so many friends. He had so many friends. And he lived and he lives in Venice, California. He had so many friends, and you can see all the pictures on Facebook. I don't know. Some of these people you may not know of because they're older, like me. They're older, but so I know every one of them. But some of you youngins might have to Google them. Robert Stack. He was the actor in The Untouchables and Unsolved Mysteries. Anybody remember Robert Stack? He's a friend of Ernest Holmes. Esther Williams, swimming and movie star. Do you remember her in the what do you call that, swimming? Synchronized swimming? How about Fernando Lamas, who was a film actor and director? Mickey Rooney. Who knew? Mickey Rooney. Rhonda Fleming, who was a film star. Mary Pickford. Silent movies. I don't know if any of you do this, but I love to watch the old silent movies in the black and whites. They're just wonderful. Cecil B. DeMille, he was a director of the 10 Commandments and movies like that. Robert Young, Father Knows Best. We're talking about all his friends in religious science. Robert Cummings, he starred in 2 Alfred Hitchcock movies. How about, oh my goodness, Jack LaLanne? Did you know that? How about Donna Douglas, star of Beverly Hills, Beverly Hillbillies? I can't believe it. I remember the music. I don't know why I'm laughing. This ages me. Adele Rogers, St. John. She was a famous reporter and screen. And last but not least, because it is not least, Peggy Lee, she's a jazz singer, and she was actually one of his longest friends. And she claims that she has wonderful posts on his page. She venerates Ernest Holmes so much. She claims that he helped her steady herself as a young child star, because you know how sometimes fame affects the young stars, right? Okay, so now we're going to look at our next key topic, which is the power of spirit. I just really enjoyed, he changed his cover photo and his profile picture a couple of days after we became friends on Facebook. So I got to see a little bit more of him. And he says, unity is the basis of all that there is. There is but one God, but one mind, but one spirit, and but one power. When I embody myself in my thoughts selfishly, I am separating myself from that which I think would be my good. You may think this is a very subtle thing and could not be the reason for so much trouble. It is the foundation of most of our troubles. I am unconsciously separating myself from my good. This whole idea, and we'll get to this whole idea, now don't worry about being accused of being selfish. I'm talking about me right now, and if you identify with it, it would feel good if I wasn't alone, but that's okay. You don't have to. To be selfish is to be lacking consideration for others and concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. I want to confess that I have been concerned chiefly with my own personal profit and pleasure, and may I add, the more glaring is my agenda. I have been more concerned about my agenda than loving you. if you're different from me. I think that the whole reason that I became friends with Ernest Holmes on Facebook was to recommit and renew my purpose for this wonderful technology that we have to connect with one another. I kind of feel like I have recommitted to what I'm using it for and how I can use it for love, how I can use it for peace, how I can use it for kindness, and how I can use it for unity. I'm going to be like him. He's pretty cool. Oscar Wilde says, selfishness is not living as one wishes to live. It is asking others to live as one wishes to live. Oscar Wilde says, selfishness is not living as one wishes to live. It is asking others to live as one wishes to live. A red rose is not selfish because it wants to be a red rose. It would be horribly selfish if it wanted all the other flowers in the garden to be both red and roses. Isn't this funny right now? Right now, I want to live as I want to live. I don't want to ask you to live as you want to live. I want to tell you to live as I want to live. Won't you? Aren't you glad that Ernest Holmes friended me? There will always be those who say that looking after your self-interest is selfish. We've talked about that before, right? Prideful, selfish. Following your dreams, wherever they lead, is an act of courage. This is not what I'm talking about. This is not what I'm talking about. I say strike out on your own and don't worry about what the conformists say. Their words are more a reflection of their insecurities than a reflection of you. So I'm not talking about don't live yourself full out. I'm talking about be considerate of others and how they are living full out. And what do I say? Considerate. You could say accepting. You could say open to. You could even say willing to become willing to be open. Have you heard that term? Give yourself a break. These are there's a lot going on out there. And listen to this. Although some would disagree, self-care and selfishness are not the same things. So we're not talking about self-care, are we? So I had this idea that, this is what came to me, that we are on the road. We're on a crossroads. We're on a crossroads to the I, me, mine meets good for all. We're at that crossroad. I, me, mine are good for all. And you must know that what is good for you must be good for all. We said that at the beginning of August. I didn't say what is good for me is good for all. I said what is good for me must be good for all. So we're at that crossroads right now of the I, me, mine, and good for all. And I'm going to take who I am in my soul and take that what is good for all road. And I'm asking, won't you come with me? And so I had this idea. You know how we have gratitude journals? Gratitude journals, really help us. We write something every day at the end of the day in it that we're grateful for, and it changes everything. And certainly would change your dreams at night, probably change your life. Well, I thought, what if we had a selfish to selfless journal? A selfish to selfless journal, just for the next couple of months during this time, where we write about our givingness and our gratitude and our affirmations, but directed towards what is good for all. And so we can question, is this attitude good for all? Is what I'm doing good for all? Is my behavior good for all? Is what I'm posting on social media good for all? Because we can look at the platforms on social media, just like Hazel We can take it in, feel it, and then we can turn away from it and decide what is the principle that I then can populate on social media to uplift my brothers and sisters, my kin, which is all of us. And the last point that I want to make is spiritual power arises from a consciousness of our unity. This is the last point I want to make. And so there is one limitless life which returns to the thinker exactly what he or she thinks into it. One, in all, over all, and through all. Talk, live, act, believe, and know that you are a center in this one. All the power there is, all the presence there is, all the love there is, all the peace there is, all the good there is, and the only God there is omnipresent. Consequently, the infinite is in and through humankind and is in and through everything. This is right off the page of my new friend on Facebook. Right off the page. And I'm sure he's okay with me copying and pasting and telling you, oh, it did have a share on the bottom, so I know it's okay because I was able to share it with all of you. So spiritual power is in this good. And I was in my prayer partner call on Thursday, and sometimes when I'm doing a spiritual mind treatment, something comes to me from that deep well of an infinite mind. And what came to me is, let's poke the bear. That recognition, the first step of spiritual mind treatment is poking the bear. And the bear is the biggest bear you've ever seen. And it's all powerful. And it likes to be poked because it's also full of love. And when we awaken to it, when we poke it, it's ready. It's ready to play. It's ready to serve. It's ready to create. It's ready. It's ready to be its powerful self. And that is who we are. One God in whom we all live, and one law which we all use. No greater unity could be conceived than that which is already given. The bear is already there, always. We know that a belief in duality, a belief in the power of good and the power of evil, has helped to destroy humanity, and the understanding of unity alone will heal us. Do you see where I'm going here? We have to do something. We can't just let it happen. We have to influence it. We have work to do. We have I have a social obligation. A social obligation to make a difference. I am a spiritual activist. I have a responsibility to participate in the evolution. Remember, evolve, the first 4 letters of evolve is love spelled backwards. I have a responsibility in the evolution of humankind to participate, to bring my pal, the bear, to everything. Powerful, loving, cuddly. And this whole idea of, one thing I've really noticed about Ernest Holmes is that his whole essence, his whole persona on social media is kindness. And he literally posted a YouTube video of this famous actor speaking about kindness. And I want to share that because he had a share button on his page. I want to share this beautiful poem about kindness.
Hello, little M. It's Big M here. You've asked me to read the poem Kindness by Naomi Shihab Nye, and you asked me to dedicate it to someone or some people or a group. And I thought, gosh, there's so many choices. And then I thought I would dedicate it instead to our collective future, to the people that we are going to be after this. Because what the crisis has made so painfully clear is that we can't go back to normal. We have to replace some of our priorities with others. We have to place people before profit, place cooperation before competition, and above all, we have to access what has been so abundant, which is kindness. And we have to apply it to all our systems. And the first question that we need to ask ourselves when we address anything is, but is it kind? And I think this poem puts it better than anything I've ever seen before. That's my stomach, by the way. Kindness. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go, so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers, eating maize and chicken, will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, it is I you have been looking for, and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend. On my stomach.
Isn't she lovely? I have read that poem so many times since I first heard it. It is so beautiful. And it is a way that Ernest Holmes is on Facebook. In fact, his last post that I wanted to share, because I wanted to know what is the purpose of this teaching that he developed, that he founded. And there is a purpose, and that purpose, he says, the whole purpose of the science of mind is to reconcile the apparent separation of the spiritual world, which must be perfect, with the material world, which appears imperfect. I love this post that he made, because can you imagine you can create an entire teaching and have a paragraph that says, this is the purpose of it? The whole purpose is to reconcile the separation of the spiritual world and the material world. Do you understand that this is what I'm doing every day of my life? That I am trying to reconcile those two worlds. I'm not saying I'm trying. I am reconciling those two worlds and doing it absolutely with kindness. And so I'm wondering if you wouldn't join me as we finish this today by saying this affirmation together with me, staying on mute, of course, but this affirmation that we could say together. So won't you say this with me? This is something that I thought of after becoming friends with Ernest Holmes on Facebook, that we could be together. We could say this together. We are a welcoming and inclusive spiritual community that honors the unique emanation of God that each sentient being embodies, blesses each other, and sees holiness in all life on earth, is a place of peace where all are respected and appreciated, remains learners and listeners so that we can grow together, is a loving community where lives are transformed by the awareness of spirit as the unlimited source and supply, and knows that the beloved community is revealed when we love each other. Raise your hand if you said that with me. Let us pray. My prayer today is from Ernest Holmes. He says, believing in the divine destiny of the United States of America and in the preservation of liberty, security, and self-expression, I offer this, my prayer for my country. I know that divine intelligence governs the destiny of the United States of America, directing the thought and the activity of all who guide its affairs. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are the gifts of freedom and are the divine heritage of everyone in this country. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are now operating in the affairs of every individual in this country. I know that divine guidance enlightens the collective mind of the people of this country, causing it to know that economic security may come to all without the loss of either personal freedom or individual self-expression. I know that no one can believe or be led to believe that freedom must be surrendered in order to ensure economic security for all. The all-knowing mind of God contains the answer to every problem which confronts this country. I know that every leader in this country is now directed to the all-knowing mind and has the knowledge of a complete solution to every problem. And each is compelled to act upon this knowledge to the end that abundance, security, and peace shall come to all. And I know that this spiritual democracy shall endure, guaranteeing to everyone in this country personal liberty, happiness, and self-expression. And so it is. Amen.
Oh, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I will be living sanctuary for you. Oh, sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving I'll be living sanctuary for you. Oh, and I am your sanctuary. I am yours. And I am your sanctuary. I am yours. Oh, I am yours. I am yours. Oh, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, holy. I am tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be living sanctuary for you, for you. Oh, well, and I am yours, sanctuary. I am yours. Oh, I am yours, sanctuary. I am yours, and I am your sanctuary. I am yours. I am yours. I am yours. So prepare me to be your sanctuary. I am pure, I am holy, always tried and true. With thanksgiving, I will be living. I am a living sanctuary for you. With thanksgiving, I'll be living sanctuary for you.
Ah, and now is the time for our offering. And we are offering you an opportunity to give. And the opportunity to give is three ways, through PayPal or credit card, or through our website, which is www.sacscsl.org, or you can mail a personal check to Sacramento CSL, 6035 Main Avenue, Orangevale, California, 95662. And we thank you. Now, to remain muted as we say our affirmation, abundance. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. and my willingness to share it, being in the flow of the law of circulation, knowing that my gift returns to me multiplied many times over. So we stay.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Just beautiful from Laura Berman. Just that just such a beautiful song. I am going to be your sanctuary. So we have some good news. We have a new class coming. We have one more class, one more Rumi class this next Thursday. So anyone can come. I have figured these classes out so that each one stands alone, and we're getting so much out of it. And I do appreciate a big thumbs up for Doug Van Werkum, who is co-teaching this this class with me. We also have a new class coming up that was developed by Reverend Jane Beach, The 5 Levels of Attachment. And it is from the teachings of Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the 4 Agreements. Well, this is another book of his. So please join us, and that will happen the week after our Rumi class finishes. It will be on Thursday nights, and it's a 4-week class. And I believe after that class is over, we will be starting a foundations class. So stay tuned. We're going to have Wednesday night. We usually have our whole note choir practice the first and third Wednesdays. This Wednesday, we're going to do something really exciting. We're going to actually vision for our whole note choir. We are looking for a choir director, or let's put it this way. We are going to vision for the choir, and the vision drives itself. So once we vision and catch the vision of the choir, we know the perfect person will come to lead it, and the technology will follow. I can't even imagine what that great one mind is going to download to us from visioning. So please come to visioning Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock. And our beloved practitioner, Debbie Putnam, who is also a ministerial student, is going to be starting her book study on Saturday mornings using the book, The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire by Deepak Chopra. So you're going to want to join that as well. The dates are on here. I've got it posted on our different social media pages. And speaking of which, we want you to definitely check out our website, our meetup page, our Facebook page, and on those pages, you will get all the details of our classes, our events, our services, our opportunities, and ways to donate. So please check us out. We're amazing, keeping it up to date. And we want to just give a little shout out to our beloved Adrian, who is leading the Facebook team, the website team with her expertise. So look at our page, keep looking, because it's being dazzled up by this amazing person. So thank you. And now our closing song. Please join us as you stay muted for our closing song of loving kindness. Don't forget to come to stay on for fellowship afterwards. And remember, fellowship is not recorded. So come and join us.
I am filled with loving kindness. I am well. I am peaceful and at ease. And I am happy. We are filled with loving kindness. We are well. We are peaceful and at ease. And we are happy.
And in gratitude for our time together here this wonderful day in this sacred place and this blessed technology that we can do this, and for all that put this together. We're so grateful for all the talent and the love and the sharing. And so we bless this service and this sacred message and the music. And we bless each other as we go through the week in safety and in love and in peace and in kindness. And so it is. Join us.
That was beautiful, Margie. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Okay.